What I'm going to make today is a compass. I've got this small metal one and it works just fine most of the time, but once in a while you need something a little bit bigger. Draw out a larger circle, and I'm going to make one out of this piece of oak. It's about a 1/2 inch thick and it's bigger than I need. I've already got it laid out on here. I'm not exactly sure how big the compass is going to be, so I've laid it out where it's a bit larger than I probably need so I can trim it off later. And first thing is I need to saw everything out on the bandsaw and just clean up the cuts. And that's when we start working on this. Okay, now I've got 2 pieces bandsawed out. This is basically what you're going to end up with. You have 2 pieces. Now I did reduce the thickness of the end by half. You're basically just creating a lap joint is all you're doing on the end. And it's not that big a deal. If you've ever done a lap joint before, it's not a big deal to do it. Now, next thing I'm going to do is just mark out for a hole. I'm going to put a 1024 screw and a wing nut here on the end to hold it together. It's still a little bit more fitting to go, but it's close enough to do that. And once I get that done, I can do a little bit more. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use a brad point bit that's 5/16 in diameter. I'm just going to make just a small spot in here for the screw head to drop into. It's not going to be very deep. Wood's not that thick, so I can't go real deep. But then I'm going to take that out. I'm going to run a 1/8 inch drill bit through both pieces. Then I'll separate them, and then the back piece I'll ream the hole out with a 3/16 drill bit. Okay, now I went ahead and made a relief cut right here so it'll open up and it'll actually bump into it. I decided that it didn't need to go all the way over. So I left some of it there. I can always trim it off some more if that doesn't work out. Now what I've got left to do is I'm going to glue this block on the one leg, and this is going to hold the pencil. Now, I didn't show anything about this, but I did drill a hole through it for the pencil. I also have a screw in there, just to snug up on the pencil to hold it in place. And this is going to get glued on the leg, just like that right there. Once the glue's dried, I'll trim off the excess on the leg. And another thing I didn't show, I made the pin for the other leg, and it's just a drywall screw. Cut the head off, and then I just ground a nice point on the end of it with the bench grinder. Now, I'm going to pre-drill a hole to screw this into the other leg. I've got it laid out here, and I'm just basically going to try to eyeball the hole and keep it aligned with this line that I have on here. And once that's done, it's just a matter of letting the glue dry on the other piece. And I'm not going to do a bunch of shaping or anything to this. I may round over the top, and I'll probably just sand off all the sharp edges and corners, and that's going to pretty well do it. So I'm going to do some of this stuff, and then I'll be back at some point. And, all right, well, I got the one piece glued up here. See what we end up with here. I'm going to let that sit probably 24 hours before I mess with it anymore. And I'm going to drill the hole in this one for the pin, and I'm just going to eyeball it. Hopefully it'll come out. We'll see what happens. Now I've got the screw chucked up in my drill here, and I'm just going to run it up in there like this. Cross my fingers that I don't split the wood. Okay, well, seems to have worked. All right. Well, once the glue dries on the other piece, I'll come back and kind of finish this thing off. I finished up the compass, and I didn't do any video the last little bit, but what I did taper this leg down just to reduce some of it, and also trimmed off this leg, rounded it over, and really the pencil takes the place of the bottom part of the leg. And I also rounded over the top here. And other than that, I just sanded it. I just rounded over all the sharp edges, rounded over the corners, and I did find a small thumb screw to put in here to hold the pencil in. It's tight, but a little extra will keep it from pushing back up when you put pressure on it. But it actually works pretty good, completely closed like that. You can make about a 2-inch circle. If you open it all the way up to where I have it like this, you can make a 20-inch circle, which is kind of getting beyond its range, but it actually works really well. You know, I've been playing around with it here a little bit, and you know, it works just fine. Yeah, it works okay now. I just put 3 coats of linseed oil on it to finish it up, and then a coat of paste wax. That pretty much did it. It's all finished. I'm happy with the way it turned out. And I don't know how much use it'll get, but when I need to draw a bigger circle, I'll have something to do it with now.